Hello Laziali and welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Lazio Brussels Club podcast. Today we have special crazy guests from Sweden. As you can see from the screen, you can see our friend Johan from Stockholm and Marcelo as well. But a huge thanks guys for being here, and you can see that Johan is completely crazy. He already lighted up a blue pyro in honor of Lazio. And we end the episode in the most crazy way possible. But welcome, guys, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
So in the meantime that we wait for that crazy man, we just had a pyro on him. He had an amazing idea to start the podcast like this. We have an incredible trailer and intro for our new upcoming episode. But once again, a welcome again to our Swedish friends. This is the first episode of the podcast that we are recording in English, and here it is, the man, the legend, Johan.
Thank you. we will see.
That was an amazing intro.
How it went down.
I think it was chaotic, but he has to be chaotic because it was a crazy idea. So glad that you tried it, and we had some connection problems maybe, but I think our fans will be really happy to see an intro like this. I think nobody did it before in a podcast, guys. Come on, let's be honest.
I don't think it either. I felt I have the smell of smoke in my room now, so. Yeah, it was fucking worth it if no one saw it except my neighbors.
Absolutely worth it, and I hope you're not going to get evicted, but I guess that your neighbors already know you well.
I'm in Sweden.
But we also want to... Exactly, and it's Sweden. But yes, guys, this is an episode where we host our friend from the podcast in Sweden for Lazio, and as you can see from Johan t-shirt as well, it's the SS Lazio Svedesi Club. This is amazing. Laziali Svedesi. It's amazing to see that there are other Lazio fans, of course, around Europe, around the world. But it's even more interesting for us as podcasters as well to see that there is a thriving podcast in Sweden. And but I'll let you first introduce yourself, guys. So I'll give you the word a little bit.
Thank you. We are both glad to be here. I'm not so crazy as we started the podcast. Me and Marcelo, we have a podcast in Swedish, and we absolutely talk smack for 40 minutes every 10 days, and we enjoy it, and people enjoy to listen to it. It's not like Lazio is a big club in Sweden, so we try to carry the heritage on. Or what do you say, Marcelo?
No, exactly like you tell. It is a big club for us, but not in Sweden. People who used to follow Juventus or Inter or Milan, but we know that the people who follow Lazio are real Laziali.
Yeah.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely.
I have
incredible to hear, and
sorry, I have pyrotechnics on my computer.
a real fan with pyrotechnics on the laptop. But yeah, guys, I mean, let's start before we dig into other current Lazio affairs. I think this episode is also to understand a little bit better how your story with Lazio started. I think me and Diego mentioned sometimes in other episodes how we became Lazio fans, but especially for me, it's super interesting to hear your story and to hear how from Sweden you chose to support this crazy club, which is Lazio. A lot of highs and downs, and it's not an easy club to support for sure. But when it gets under your skin, I think when you win, even when you lose, it gives you emotion that I don't think you can feel in any other club or supporting any other club. So I'm really interested to know what's your story, how do you become a Laziali in Sweden, how has it been so far?
I feel I can start there. Me and Marcelo, we only know each other because of Lazio, but as Marcelo said just now, we have in Sweden many Juventus, Milan, Inter supporters. Even you guys asked us why we supported Lazio when they have a bad rep, or everything outside of Italy is just a shitty thing. And me as a younger one, than Marcelo, I can't remember Sven-Goran Eriksson's years, but for me it was I would start to say that in Sweden we have shit football but world class tribune culture. And
Absolutely.
both me and Marcelo's Swedish teams are by far in the top of the Europe games in on the tribune and with the tifos and pyrotechnics. So that we are better there than on the pitch. But for me, it started first when you play children's football. Before is young football, the earliest you're like 6 or 5, and your team is made up by your neighborhood, and my team become my neighborhood become Lazio, and that told me nothing, but my neighbor was both, may him rest in peace, he was both Roman and an AIK fan. We have pretty much Italian in Sweden who came here at say 70s 80s Sabres, and he was still going to games, and he brought home shirts and things too. And when I get a little bit older and start to travel with my own Swedish team, then I can't choose club then. We have a strong mentality of being loyal to our teams, that's for me. I had the luxury to have a Roman neighbor who introduced me to my mother and my father, my two clubs. How about you, Marcelo?
Nice, that's amazing.
For me, it was actually, I'm a little bit older than Johan, and it all started with Sven-Göran Eriksson. In that time, we had a lot of highlights from just Serie A, just because Sven-Göran Eriksson was the trainer of Lazio. So I was watching at the TV. I watched not all the games, but I watched a couple of games, and Lazio was one of the biggest clubs in Europe, in the world, to be honest. And me, as I'm from Chile, so we had a big special player there, Marcelo Salas, just as me. So it was just from Sweden and from Chile. That has a lot of highlights from all the games and stuff like that. So, and I mean, look at Alexandro Nesta. We have a lot of good players in that time, in Champions League, in Serie A. We won the Scudetto and everything. So it was amazing. Not just Chilean players, but Argentinian players too. So it was amazing time, and the shirt and everything always like this, and and just like you said, it's hard to be a Laziale. It's and that time it was really easy to be a Laziale. You just felt proud and everything about the team. After that, it was a little bit difficult, but that's the life of a Laziale. It's up and downs.
Constant struggle.
Absolutely. Yeah, but it's even better sometimes, because it makes you appreciate the win even more. And I think also the way we relate to each other, we make friendships with other Laziali, or even just like a connection with people like you guys. I think there is a different bond, that there is a different emotion, because we went through the struggle, we went through a lot of tough times, and I think it's easier to become, maybe it's harder to become Laziali right now. but it's easier to become friends through Lazio. But yeah, I also have a question for you, Diego. Since we're talking a lot about the relationship between Sweden and Lazio, or in general Italy, do you have any memories of Sweden? Do you have a team that you supported or maybe that you followed from Sweden? Because, for example, I've been to the Oiko Stockholm stadium to watch a match. I was in vacation in Stockholm, and it was really great. So you had a great fan base. What about you?
No, for me in Sweden, let's say I like Malmo for the colors, of course. That's all what I can say. Sorry to say that, I know, but to be honest, like Ike as well was the only team that I knew in Sweden from FIFA, because I think at the time was the best rated on FIFA when I used to play PlayStation. So sometimes I used to take them. It was like 2 or 3 stars, like way better than the others, even better than Malmo. But yeah, as I sent on the group chat like a couple of days ago, the choreography from Amarby fans, I guess, was amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's nice. There's a lot of there's a great tifo.
Sorry, Valentino. I just gonna put in here that me and Marcelo, we have different clubs in Sweden. We don't go out with it. We talk Laziali in our pod, but we have 2 of the biggest clubs and 2 of the best choreographies. Malmö, they have good too. It's south to Sweden, and it's other problems with the teams more than the supporters, seriously, for me there, and that's nothing to talk about here.
All right, I don't know. I didn't know that. But okay, if you don't want to go further, we can skip this part on Malmo. But I will be interested to understand.
No,
because you can. Like, what's Malmo compared to Italian teams? Like, as I can understand, maybe Juventus?
No, yeah, in Sweden, no. But in Sweden we have so bad football, so bad league, that even if Malmö is by far, they are, I think, 4 or 5 times the richer than the second richest club. They can't win every year because players don't want to come here and play, because it's the 24th ranked league in Europe. So because it's a membership club, you can't own a club. It's 51% of the members who own it. But I think we leave Swedish football teams there, because we have Laziali Svedesi. For me and Marcelo is all of the Swedish Lazio fans, and we root for rival clubs in Sweden, but as Lazio never gonna meet Sweden, meet none of our clubs in Sweden, then so it's if we should discuss our own teams every time, then we couldn't build a Laziali Svedesi with everybody, because everybody has a Swedish team too, and they're rivals pretty much.
To close this topic, I remember on 2010-29 a match Lazio against Elfsborg. I guess, I don't know if you remember that. That was the last time that we faced an Swedish.
I was there actually.
But,
yeah,
both of us.
Nice.
How was it? We had shitty team that year, I guess. 29-2010 was the Ballardini here or something. We were going in Serie B.
Yeah, exactly. Julio Cruz played at the after.
Okay. I got the year. Oh my god. Okay. Very unlucky. The only time that we came in Sweden, we got that shitty team. Let's go on.
But exactly. Now that you mentioned Julio Cruz and other weird legends of Lazio. But I mean, in any of us, there is always like one amazing memory of Lazio, which doesn't always mean that it was when we won the Scudetto, because of course probably only Marcelo remembers among us. Unluckily, we were too young to see that era. But we have so many memories that sometimes I also talk to Diego or to the rest of the club in Brussels that I remember Lazio and I love those moments. And maybe they were like, I don't know, a match against Udinese not to go in Serie B with Itzelsperger scoring a goal almost from midfield and stuff like that. So weird memories. So what I want to ask you is like, what is the moment that made you fall in love with Lazio? What is the first memory that you have in your mind when you think about, oh, that's why I love Lazio? Maybe it was a match on a random pub that you saw, maybe it was your father that showed you something. You already said, Johan, also that you had this neighbor that of course brought you a lot of inspiration to become a Lazio fan. But do you remember exactly, I don't know, maybe something from a match or a goal or something that makes you think, oh yeah, that's when I became a real Laziale?
Yeah, but no, I can't really select one of them, but I have the luxury to see two titles on the stadium, and your jersey you're wearing, I was there, and it was
nice.
It was amazing, but I'm gonna pick because in Sweden, the Swedish Cup compares to Coppa Italia, and we have tried to have the Super Coppa, but that doesn't work. And when at Stadio Olimpico we beat Juventus, they reduced to 2-2 in overtime, and we do 3-2 in the last minute, and I remembering this is 2017, I think. So I haven't been a Laziale for a long time, but I saw how many people crying and how it meant so much for the people with the Super Coppa, and like so it was so amazing to see that not only the Curva, it was every Laziale on the stadium. And that's why I love culture in a way. In Sweden it's just a Curva, but when you are at Olimpico, it's everybody from a senior 90 years old to a little kid who screams and lives in and sing, and it's all a constant buzz. And I remember the tears from people, and I have been to so many games that season, so I have to pick the Supercoppa against Juventus at Stadio Olimpico.
Alessandro Murgia.
Very nice, exactly. It was also a special goal. It was also a special goal because he was another legend, weird legend, Jordan Lukaku, of course.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, indeed. Okay, I knew that. But for us in Belgium, is a legend, the real Lukaku.
Yeah, of course.
The right
Lukaku. Especially after Lukaku went to Roma, we were even more proud to have Jordan Lukaku on our team. But also, I think it was very special.
He was very famous in a lot of McDonald's in Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's say that the Lukaku family. The Lukaku family loves food, so that's why maybe they spent a lot of years in Italy. I don't know.
Jordan feels like a loyal player compared to Lukaku, who just is.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Marcelo.
Yeah. By the way, like,
what's your favorite? What's your best Laziale memory?
Since I'm the oldest one here, I got a lot of memories. I can say a lot of memories. I can say Valon Berami last second against Roma. I can say the Christian Ledesma's goal against Roma, that too. That was actually one of the greatest goal I've seen after maybe Hernandez. He had scored a lot of goals too.
Yeah.
Mauro Zarate that time. So I mean, I really feel old when I'm talking about these old memories.
You didn't see Quinaglia playing, right?
No.
Marcelo,
But probably
pick a memory when you were at the game. It's easier. I
yeah.
Otherwise too.
I agree. Yeah.
Ooh. When I was at the game, I was at the Lazio Roma when Saccagno scored a goal. That was amazing.
Me too.
That goal was amazing, and it was amazing because when Roma scored a goal 1 minute after, and everyone was looking at the referee, I promise you, when the referee said offside, I think we screamed harder and when we celebrated the goal. So it was amazing feeling. So I can talk whole day about the Lazio memory, but we don't have the time, so we can take another time there.
No, but that's
Marcelo, like, I want to talk with your Chilean soul.
Yeah.
There is another Chilean player that maybe you have seen for sure that played in Lazio after Salas. You remember who?
We have Luis Jimenez.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I love him. Like, I think he was a class player. I really liked him. He did his career. I think he went to Inter as well.
Yeah,
But what do you think? Like, I liked him.
Yeah, he played at Ternana too, but not a big team.
I will just I will just comment the thing about that you just said when Roma scores directly after. Did you all see the UEFA Conference League final this year? And I rooted for, of course, Olympiacos, and it was so boring game. It was I wasted my whole evening until they score in the 84th minute or something, and the whole stadium explodes and the cries and everything, and then it's been a VAR check and everybody was like praying to God, and I watched this on TV, but it felt so much, so it was worth it. And then when the goal was given a go, it was again the double celebration. I hate VAR. We don't have VAR in Sweden, but that was a fucking amazing moment with VAR.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because a lot of people, of course, say that VAR takes off a lot of the emotion of the game.
Yeah,
I think it's many times it's the case, but I think it's mostly on the TV that you don't wanna maybe celebrate too much because you're waiting for the VAR. As Marcelo said, I was also at the stadium in that derby. I didn't even care about the VAR. I was already screaming. And then I didn't even realize that Roma scored because the VAR check and everything happened while we were still celebrating the goal. It was incredible. It was like 1 second after. But yeah, it's interesting to know that in Sweden you don't have VAR. But yeah, let's say that this year also for Lazio it was not always a good thing. Maybe VAR, especially at the beginning of the season. But what I want to ask you guys before going into other topics, more current topics. From your point of view, also in terms of how you lived the season with your friends and fans from Lazio in Sweden, how were the emotions like? How did you go through the Champions League campaign? How was the Serie A? We changed 2 coaches. How was your reaction? What were your emotions? Because of course, for us being abroad, we also in Brussels, it's always a weird feeling. I went back home, of course, in Rome to see some matches at the Olympic, also in Champions League. But how was the season for you in Sweden?
Marcelo, you start.
Yeah, I can start. It was a weird season. One of the worst seasons we had in a couple of years now. and we talked about it in the podcast that we have. That I don't know. It was a weird season, but now I'm talking about Serie A because when we go to Champions League, it was an amazing journey. Actually, Champions League, Celtic game, Bayern München game, the first game, and Atletico when we scored at the last minute. I mean, it was completely amazing this whole season. But I don't know. I don't like the Europa League, so I don't know what to say more. To be honest,
I can take over.
what do you say, Johan? Yeah.
We have had different opinions on this, me and Marcelo. I think the old guy Sarri couldn't he couldn't take his pride off to try something new. We scored 49 goals in total, and most credit should Tudor have for them, because we had equal conceived and scored goal when Maurizio Sarri left, and that's you can lose against Lecce away. That happens. That's always Laziali. We perform good against Inter, and we lose against always against Juventus and some shitty teams. But this year have been, from my point of view, a so big frustration, because I saw last year that second place was a bit of a lucky treat, because Napoli had won the Scudetto in January. So Inter, they had secured a CL spot. So so this season I was a little bit skeptical, but for the first time we spend money, real money, and when we buy strikers from New York FC because he scored a couple of goals against Real Madrid last year from the same dictatorship country who owns Girona, New York FC, and Manchester City. For the first time ever in my life, I missed Iglitare. I hated him, but he could.
Oh my God.
He wouldn't have been ripped off like Lotito and paid almost 16 million euros or something for Tati. I mean, Atalanta, they paid 20 million for Scamacca. It's
Yeah, but one quick question.
Yeah.
So in the last Champions League, so we got our Champions League striker was Tati Castellanos. With Tare, our Champions League striker with Inzaghi was Murici. Who was worse?
Yeah,
That's a hard question.
Murici, of course. Because the pirate didn't even try
think
to. Tati, he is not good enough, but he tries.
And guess what? Murici scored 1 goal in 2 seasons, so less than Tati in 1 season, and was even more expensive.
Yeah, but we got.
Oh, I don't know about Murici.
18 million.
18, right? 18.
21,
Yeah, 18 plus bonus,
million.
but he didn't get the bonus, of course, because he scored 1 goal. So.
But then again,
So you sure that the
Murici come in as a backup striker when he sold Korea. Shiro was the first striker. I thought it was a crazy buy to buy Murici for $21 million for 1 good season in Fenerbahce, or if it was Gala, I don't remember. And Shiro was still in his top level, but to play with Tati, who is not Shiro, he has never been a technical guy or a fast guy, but he can score with both feet from with one touch from everywhere in the box. So it's not. Shiro have got much shit this year from fans and from everything, but he has not even get. I mean, last year, Felipe Anderson, Pedro, Saccagni, Luis Alberto, and SMS, they both did like 7 plus 8 at least points with scores and assists. And this year they have injuries, and Saccagni, I don't know what he end up on, 3 plus 4 or something. It's of course Shiro can't do everything by himself, and he is getting older, so it's vital to take a striker that can compare with him, and not taking Fetati. He has tried really hard, but he misses too many chances. And Murici, he scored 18 goals in Mallorca. It's a shitty team in Serie A when we had sold him.
Yeah, I agree on all the line. The only thing is when we got Immobile after Close, it was a bet as well. I would say at the same level as Murici, or not Murici maybe, but with Tati we can compare, because he came from 2 very bad seasons with Borussia Dortmund and Sevilla. Even if he did, I think he did best striker or goal scorer with Torino, if I'm not wrong. So there was potential in him, but still at that point of his career, missing 2 chances with Borussia and Sevilla, it was a bet for us. So, and we had to replace a man called Miroslav Klose. So that's always been the strategy of the society, I think.
And now,
but still, Immobile
replace a guy called Ciro Immobile, who turned out to be
a
good bet.
Indeed.
But Ciro Immobile at the time was a bet, because of course he had a couple of seasons that were not perfect, but he was the top striker with Torino with 22 goals 2 seasons before, and with Borussia Dortmund he was the top scorer in Champions League. He was top scorer in Champions League with 6 goals in 6 games.
And Pescara.
The difference between Tati, Pescara of course, but he was a striker that gave us gave us the impression that he was a good striker. He was one of the best, and then he had a couple of bad seasons. Murici was a nobody. Tati was a nobody.
Decent striker at that point.
Decent, but I think we're talking about two different CVs in terms of like Murici, Castellanos compared to Ciro Immobile. So my to understand also a bit better from you guys, I also wanna ask you one of those usually traditional questions, very easy one, but like, who has been the best player of the season in your opinion, very personal opinion, and who has been the worst?
I start with that. For me, okay, Marcelo, I let you take the Frenchman, so I take Rovella, because I think he has been so good compared to Cataldi, who has his limits. He's a Laziale, I know, but he has his limits. And of course, Tati Castellanos is the biggest disappointment. And I think Marcelo just tell us the 2 players, and then we carry on, so we can talk about some things that it's currently happening.
No, you're completely right. I have the Frenchman there. He did such a good season. He played for Marcelo and did good, and Arsenal did good, and came to Lazio, and he just showed the other player how to be a Laziale.
And attitude. And he talks about Guendouzi, of course.
Of course. If I said the Frenchman, I'm not talking about another one.
We don't have any other Frenchman, if I'm not wrong.
No, exactly. We had a couple before, but we cannot talk about them. No, he did an amazing season. I love his energy in the game, in every game. He had a couple of bad games, of course, but in general, it was amazing. For me, as an old defender when I play football. He did an amazing job. If we have, we talked about this with Johan. If we have to choose between Igor Tudor and Guendouzi, is Guendouzi all the way.
And what about the worst?
Marcelo, you?
The worst, it was hard, but I have to say Tati Castellano. I actually defended him in the podcast and maybe in the whole season because I really believe in him. Too long, to be honest. Now, it's just a YouTube player. He had a couple of good season, one season with in La Liga, but no, I really miss Felipe Caicedo when we talk about second striker. So yeah.
And
and what about you, Diego?
I want to add one more.
Go for it.
Player that I have won over. Marcelo didn't like him at all, but I think that Mario Gila has been really good, and his Nesta style when he tackles, the perfect tackles, I fucking love it.
Yeah, I completely understand. But that's the same player as Patrick was in the beginning. I hated Patrick in the beginning. As soon as I saw him play, I was like, no, we're going to lose the game. But he won my heart, and Mario Gila too.
But the difference is that Gila was never bad, so it's a bit different.
Yeah.
Well,
so what about you, Diego?
Answer to you on Gila, you have to ask sorry to him. But I think last year, when I've seen him in the Europa League, it was terrible, guys. With Midtjylland was terrible. With Feyenoord home was terrible. There was something wrong in his mentality. I think he was a bit shy on the pitch. And now he's completely the opposite. So I think Sarri did a great job on his mentality. Unlocked him in a way. Then to answer to the main question, I think you said whole, so I don't want to repeat. I will just mention that for me a big surprise has been Mandas. I will give him a chance at least to play the Europa League the next year because I really like him. Even like the first game against the Derby. He did a good save, if you remember, and was not that confident in the match, but you could see that there was something in him, and I liked him so much. Marcelo, to answer to you, you say that Caicedo, we miss Caicedo, right? I agree, and he was the best second striker that we had, I think, last 10 years, at least. I think the problem is Lotito and company, Tare before, and then Fabiani, they still think about a replacement striker, So they want a profile like Caicedo, but we don't need anymore that profile. And I think there is a bit of Immobile strategy behind it, because he has a big voice in the rooms in Formello. So I think that's the main problem.
Yeah.
And what about so your worst player as well is Castellanos or?
Sorry, worst player is for me Casale.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. But okay, there is like the main spot is always for a guy from Rome that I won't mention, that he made his career only because he's a Lazio fan. But I won't mention this guy, and I will take Casale.
We only have one. We only have one, so we not understand at all what you said, who you meant.
On my side, quickly, I think for me the best was actually Gila. I think overall he had the best performance in terms of also like, in the NBA they have the most improved player trophy. I think Gila made such a big jump from, as you said, like very, very bad performances last year to top class defender. And yeah, I agree with Diego. I think the worst was really Casale because honestly, there are a lot of bad players this year, but I think that Casale especially really went downhill from like being a good defender, probably very good last year, to really be Serie B level this year. So I think it was really, really, really bad.
I
But
think he
so
played. I
the
think he
season was
played.
weird. Yeah.
I just I think Casale played too little to get that even. I think he's played shitty too compared to last season,
Yeah, yeah.
but he played too little to give him that because when we went to a 3-back he was better again, and Romagnoli, who was the stable one, he was the worst in the 3-back because he
Yeah.
can't play in the 3-back. So
Mm-mm-mm.
yeah, but
Yeah, I agree.
I think we should move on. I see the time just so.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to talk a little bit before maybe concluding the episode, a little bit about the current situation. Today is a special day. The day of the recording is of course Friday, the 14th of June, and today our Laziali brothers are in Rome protesting against the ownership, against Lotito. We heard rumors and we got pictures of like almost 10K people being there. So hopefully it's gonna be. Thanks Diego for wow, that's a lot of people die. Hopefully,
For
hopefully
the
it's really,
content, yeah.
hopefully it's really 10K or more, and it's gonna give a signal. But of course, we got here to this protest and situation because not only we switched two coaches during the season, but we now got Baroni, who's probably not a coach that has been welcomed very well by the fans, mostly because with Felipe Anderson going away, Luis Alberto is also officially in Qatar. We're losing many stars, additionally to of course Milinkovic Savic last year. Immobile is not fit anymore. There is the end of a generation of Lazio players, and we know Champions League this year. We have a smaller budget. We already hear some Mercato rumors, but they're not very exciting. So what do you guys think of the appointment of Baroni? Do you think that Laziali are also overreacting maybe? That in general we're just going through a new phase of the team with maybe a lower budget, but we're also getting rid of some older players. What do you think, guys, of the situation?
I can start with that one. I think a protest is always good, but as we all know, it don't work on Lotito. But you have to show when you're not happy. But I misread that Sarri is so big name in football that Luis Alberto signed his new contract because of him, and things like that. Because I don't see him as that great of a coach, because he has get fired from every club because he can't cooperate. But I think a little bit overreaction, because Baroni, as we take Tudor, and he has done some great escapes with some clubs, and he took Verona to a good point, and the alternative they throw up was like Tommaso Rocchi or Klose. They have not experience. I think Roma for example, who signed Daniel De Rossi now for 3 years, is a big mistake, because he has a little bit from Spal, but no more experience. So I think I take Baroni. I wanted Conceição, but I guess he has much demands, and Lotito, who runs the show, it's easy to read that Fabiani just is a press guy. Honestly, he has no authority at all in the club, not like Tare had, and I think the names on the Mercato is players that I have to Google, and that's really not a good sign. I would like Johan Simeone. I think he would be good for Lazio, and I think that would be a great player. But when I hear Lo Celso again, I don't know how many times I heard it. It's an expensive alternative for a player who have done. I read it earlier or yesterday, like 2.2 for the 5 last seasons to replace Luis Alberto. Here, me and Marcelo are pretty ununited because I hate Luis Alberto, but I love him more. He have given us so much, and the 3 titles he have won with Lazio, I don't think that we have at least one. I can guarantee that we didn't have one without him, and he's a point player. He did most point for Lazio this year, and of course, when you take in another coach, as I saw always Tudor as an interim, but when Tudor goes to Luis Alberto and say, I'm not gonna have you as my star next season, of course he's gonna make drama again. He's like an artist, you know. They are not so rational. They are like Van Gogh. They cut off their ears and shit. So I rather take Baroni than I take Klose or Tommaso Rocchi. But I'm not satisfied with it. But I think it is because Lotito knows he don't that Baroni comes with no demands on signing expensive players.
Yep. I mean, yeah, Marcelo, what do you think?
No, I agree a couple of things with Johan here, and I mean Baroni, as I recall, is an old Romanista. That's one of the reason people don't like him. The other thing is his CV. I mean, it's not a trainer who's going to take Lazio to Champions League, if you ask me. And just like we're talking about Calciomercato, we are not talking about big players. We need players who have played in Serie A for a long time, who know Serie A. And since we know Lotito is a businessman. He knows about business, but not about the lazialità. That's the big problem with Lotito. So we, at the moment, I'm disappointed. I liked Igor Tudor. He didn't.
But he fucked himself up, right?
Yeah, exactly. He started to fight with players and not fight. He had a problem with a little bit of key players in Lazio. So he's dug his own grave, and it's an old history there. But Baroni, that's not the future of Lazio. I think that's we're going to be that Lazio played Europa League every season, and that's not a Lazio for me, to be honest.
But I just want to add that Baroni has coached Roma, yeah, but he has also coached for 24 years or something, Serie B teams and Serie A bottom teams. So he's an experienced coach, and with the right material, maybe he can be do something right. The biggest protest isn't against Baroni, it's against Lotito for signing Baroni and not signing key players, right?
Exactly.
Valentino, is it that?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the point. I think that everybody doesn't know what to think about Baroni because, again, not many people also watched Baroni football every day. We were busy with other teams and our players, of course. But yeah, once again, it's something that I think Lotito should have got a better name, even because football is like politics. You need to give something to the people that works. You need to build hope, especially if you're gonna if you're gonna do your membership campaign, you need either big player names or a big coach. And in this case, we're seeing none of them. So going from a Champions League season to a Europa League season, which is fine because there is a lot of competition in Serie A, I think, for Champions League. So I can understand one season in Europa League, but we don't see maybe the any ideas from the Lazio society, from Lotito and so on, to already build another team that is ready to go to Champions League. The only thing that I also said to Diego during the last episode of our podcast in Italian is that I hope that at least, as you said, Baroni with good material could be good, but I hope that at least we're going to sign, if not superstars, at least a bunch of good young players like Rovella, similar ones, and we can maybe start a new era of young players, because also in defense we have Gila, in goalkeeping we also have Mandas who's young. So I hope it's just about getting younger guys that can grow with Lazio.
Yeah.
What about you, Diego, before we conclude?
Rovella, we have an obligation to buy after next season. Same with Luca Pellegrini.
Yeah.
Price. So I think.
So,
but as you said, I just want to say. Sorry, Diego. I just want to say that you saw when Roma signs Mourinho, then they filled the Olimpico again. We never fill Olimpico except for derbies and when we had this beautiful celebration for Sven-Goran Eriksson, who is terminally ill in cancer. But a big name. I didn't realize that Sarri was that big name that attract good players. But for me, I rather want to sign one good striker, and I love that we secured a 4-year contract with Saccagni, because he's our only national team player, and when he is injury free, he's really, really good. He have impressed a lot on me, and is one of my favorite players. And Rovella too, he's just 22. Build around him, and he's gonna be a national player any day.
I agree.
yeah, what to say? You said basically everything, guys. On this, I think under this point of view, we can consider the Baroni period like a transition period where the only object is to make this young player grow well. But the point is that the supporters with Sarri, they had the illusion that finally the society in general, the management wanted to build a step forward the project, even in terms of, as Johan said, of players, because when you have Sarri training, you see that Guendouzi comes, that Rovella wants to play with him. The other players comes to work. Kamada came, and now the point is that if we start again from zero, because we are restarting the project, even the names that Johan said are too ambitious for us, like Lo Celso and even Simeone. So for a couple of years we will have to just to enjoy the match, in my opinion, and hope that something good Baroni could get from this with these youngsters. But yeah, that's it. I think even with this transfer market, we are organizing another episode with an agent that works in Italy. That is a friend of mine that works very close to Verona management, and he has a bunch of players under his agency, so we can understand better which are the dynamics behind these movements. Because if you see, like, the things that never change are the people who we talk when we do the transfer market. It's always Salernitana, Verona, something.
Yeah.
Or Raiola agency as well. So I don't know if this is a youngster project, or it's just Lotito that only wanted to talk with the people that he always talks, without Sarri, without anyone saying something.
People don't want to do
Yeah.
business with Sarri. Either with Lotito.
Yeah, but in general, yeah, exactly. I think Lotito is really gonna have the strategy of having a coach that doesn't complain and agents that can bring players that he can pay. For example, don't forget that we got Castellanos because we are paying Castellanos in 4 installments, something that is not very usual in the football transfer market. So I think we're gonna see. As Diego said, we need to enjoy the matches, and of course, we hope to do more episodes in English, more episodes with the Swedish guys, of course, because it's important to see also all the point of views from Lazio fans around the world. But absolutely, let's see if we're gonna start a new youngster project, or we're gonna have a crazy season. I'm sure that it's gonna be another crazy season. So honestly, as a Laziale, we're used to it. It's gonna be fun somehow. We're gonna find fun even in the worst situation. But once again, guys, I just want to thank you all for being in this podcast, for the crazy intro from Johan, and of course to Marcelo as well, and to everybody.
It was the best intro.
It was the best intro, and also thanks a lot, of course, for supporting Lazio from Sweden, because we're very happy to see other Laziali everywhere in the world.
Thank you for
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We be delighted to come back. Me and Marcelo, we are die-hard Laziale. It's not like people
Amazing.
have a club in every league. So yeah.
I saw that Marcelo is a real Laziale when he answered well to Jimenez's question, so I have no doubts anymore.
Yeah. I wanted to say that Christian Ledesma is I think it's my favorite player of all my supporting years.
Nice.
Combined.
That's one thing you should answer. Favorite player.
We do quickly favorite player, and we close the episode. So we know Ledesma, Romeo. What about Marcelo?
Matsimoto.
Nice.
Oh. So I want to mention, because today is Otto's birthday, so
Exactly.
happy birthday, Captain.
What about you, Diego? Favorite one?
My favorite player, I have behind my back right now.
So Felipe
He
Anderson.
doesn't play for us anymore, but it's Felipe, yeah.
Felipe Anderson, and
The one that I feel most attached to is him.
Nice. And I close this podcast saying goodbye also to my favorite player, who's Mauro Zarate, of course. The real number 10. But thank you guys again. See you in the next podcast. Ciao.
Arrivederci.
Bye.